It has recently come to my attention that St. Patrick was never canonized. Wow. How can this be? How can he be Ireland's patron saint if this is the case?
Well, because once again, the Irish are deceiving us all. No, that's not it. No, and Patrick, you have reason to be concerned. The reason is because he was acclaimed as a saint by the Irish and others before our current method of canonization, which is only about 500 or 600 years old, came into practice.
Wow.
It's relatively recent. You know, well, maybe 700 years, 6, 7, something like that. Anyway, however long it is, it's relatively recent. And prior to that time, the way we got saints is that somebody would die, and if they were martyred, then that wasn't even a question. Anybody who was martyred was considered a saint. But let's say someone else during his lifetime has a reputation for sanctity, and then he dies, and then there are miracles in his tomb, and the locals, and maybe the bishop, would claim him a saint. But as you can imagine, with such a casual procedure, there were some abuses. And so our whole system arose in response to that. But it's relatively new. So he was not canonized in the sense of going through the process. But none of our early saints were.
Wow. So okay. I think you said before the show St. Peter wasn't.
No, of course not. None of them. St. Peter, they would have had a hard time examining St. Michael's body. Or St. Michael the Archangel.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing, too, you got to bear in mind is that as the general run of faith has become less and less in the people, our ability to recognize a saint is somewhat impeded.
That's interesting.
Well, back in the day, they had what was called the sensus fidei, the sense of the faithful. And you'll often hear people like Cardinal Newman and so on go on about how during the Arian heresy and the Nestorians and so on and so forth, it was the laity that saved the faith because most of the clergy defected. Well, that was then. This is now. The vast majority of Catholics, in the West anyway, believe whatever their neighbors believe. They don't know what their faith teaches. Their clergy generally don't see any need to enlighten them and often don't believe in it themselves. You know, you've got a couple of blind cats chasing each other. So there is no sensus fidei because there's no fidei. There's no faithful. We're a bunch of, you know, we use Catholic as a tribal name, but it doesn't really mean anything to most of us. So in that sort of a setup, you couldn't possibly have popular acclamations of saints the way you did before because we wouldn't know what a saint was. You know, we wouldn't recognize holiness. We'd probably shoot the guy.
That's sad.
Well, it is what it is. So, St. Patrick could be grateful he didn't live in the year of our Lord 2018.
Wow. So, in the I guess the pre-legalistic canonization process, by the sensus fidei, would St. Thomas argue that's infallible?
Yeah, I think he would accept it as infallible, because basically everything was done, you might say, retroactively. Now, see, another thing that has occurred is that very often local saints who were claimed in one particular area with immemorial culti, because remember, it's not a one-time deal. These people keep answering your prayers. The miracles keep happening. The intercessions keep happening. So very often what will happen is that one of these things will be brought to the attention of the authorities in Rome, and the person will end up being made a blessed, and that'll be it. So, but then sometimes they'll take interest in that particular cause, and they'll push it through.